Let's go ahead and check the engine. Looks like we've got some oil leaks. Its spark plug's a little bit foul. Just talking about how my oil's old because I've let the plane sit for so long. Just going to run a quick compression check. Wow, cylinders 1 and 2 and 5 are not looking good. You can also see the oil lines, oil pumps are starting to wear as well. The general condition says inspect engine, but you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take this thing up into the sky. The roughness in the engine. Oh no folks, that's it. Engine's gonna fail. This is the end. Just putting her in a shallow dive here. This is, some might say, where the fun actually begins. Oh god, we're going way too fast. Down, 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 down. Stop, stop. 70 miles an hour, 70 miles, 70 miles an hour. Brakes, 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 brakes. Well, hello there and welcome back. It's been a little while since I've featured Flight Simulator X on my channel, and yet here we are. Today we're looking at the Comanche 250 by A2A Simulations. Now I realize this aircraft was actually released by A2A Simulations way back in mid 2015, so apologies for my lateness. I have been meaning to cover the aircraft, but anyway, without further ado, let's dive right in. So this is Scott Gentile's baby, I guess you could say. Scott is the CEO over at A2A Simulations, and you can just see here from the amount of detail, not only visually but also from a sound perspective, that they've put into this aircraft. And not just that as well, but just from an overall simulation fidelity perspective, just like a lot of their other products as well, that it really shows. So this is the A2A Comanche 250 with the Accu-sim package as well. So we're just going to dive right in here. Let's pull up the maintenance hangar. You'll see I've chosen a used aircraft, so there's quite a few thousand hours on it. Let's go ahead and check the engine out. Looks like we've got some oil leaks. It's saying spark plug's a little bit foul. Just talking about how my oil's old because I've let the plane sit for so long. So yeah, if we click on the check engine little icon there on the nose of the aircraft, we'll pull up an even more sort of detailed component view of the engine. Just going to run a quick compression check here. You can see, wow, cylinders 1 and 2 and 5 are not looking good. I can also see the oil lines, oil pump and starter components are starting to wear as well. You can do things like change the oil. You can come down here, you can have a look at the plugs, so you can change the plugs around as well to a different electrode. This will change the plugs at the same time as changing the type if you wish. Not going to do any of that today, but you'll see here there's lots of extra options as well, like changing the propellers, fairings and whatnot. The general condition says inspect engine, but you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take this thing up into the sky. So let's start off by doing a walk around. Even if we're taking a little bit of risk with the engine with some worn out parts, we definitely cannot skip the walk around. We definitely want to make sure the control surfaces and whatnot are good. So just got our little overlay here. Just going to get rid of the yoke there. Turn on the master switch, master electrics. Go ahead and turn on the pitot heat so that we can inspect. Alright, so just outside here, just checking the baggage door, that's locked and secure. Around to the tail. Those of you who have watched my videos before on Flight Simulator X will be familiar with a lot of these little pre-flights that I do, particularly for the A2A Simulations aircraft. The A2A guys really produce some high quality products for Flight Simulator. So just checking the static source there for any blockage, looks good. Checking the left wing here, flap for excessive play. Okay, looks good. You can also check the condition of the hinges, make sure there's no missing bolts. Things like that. Any missing bolts will show up here, and if you go ahead and fly the aircraft, you're taking a big risk. So you can see there the bolts are all in place. No visual damage. Just going ahead and having a look in the little tank here, the tip tank. So I've added tip tanks to the aircraft as well. You can drain the fuel out just to make sure there's no excessive moisture. The sun's in my eyes here. I've really chosen a bad sort of time to do this check in the late afternoon. But anyway, landing light looks good. Stall warning, just checking the pitot heat here. Yep, heat's good. And stall warning's good. So obviously the pitot heat, that's the reason why we turned it on before, so we could check to see that it's nice and hot. Okay, underneath the left wing here, just want to make sure the tires are looking good. And just having a general look here at the landing gear assemblies, making sure that everything appears to be in order. Okay, let's go ahead and check the left wing tank fuel quantity, which looks good. And around to the nose now, up to the front of the aircraft. Going to check the oil level. Now, obviously, like other Accu-sim aircraft, for those of you who aren't aware, the more that you leave the plane sitting idle on your computer, it actually tracks the system time and date on your computer. So oil will get darker over time, and obviously lower in level as you fly as well. So obviously a good idea to check the level, but also look at the darkness. Dirty black oil just means that things can wear out and corrode a lot quicker. There's additives that they've even modeled in the game as well. Just around to the front of the plane now as well, just checking the propeller, looks good. Draining some more fuel from the front of the aircraft over to the right wing to check fuel levels, looking good. Over to the right hand leading edge of the wing. We don't have any tie downs today, so no problem there. Right landing light looks good, right leading edge looks good. Over to the right wing tip tank, and again just check for excessive moisture. Now the tip tanks are optional, but like I said, I have added them using the Hangar feature that we just saw earlier. Over to the right aileron and right wing flap, inspecting all of those, looks good. I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of all of this. I mean, I'm showing you a lot of things already anyway, but a lot of you are probably familiar with A2A's products by now. Those of you who aren't, feel free to leave a comment below. Okay, so back in the cabin here, we need to check the control wheel, remove any locks, master switch is on. Okay, now fuel selectors, they both need to be selecting a fuel source. We can't have any of them off for the takeoff. And fuel quantities are looking good, so no problems there. Just go ahead and give full mix and check out the control surfaces here. Elevator's looking okay. We'll just hop outside and check the rudder and just double check that elevator as well. Okay, looks good. Right, so back inside, just gonna go ahead and turn off the pitot heat for now. Won't be needing that for the moment. Go and test out the landing flaps. Make sure that they're working fine. Just keep them extended for the moment, per the checklist. Now, next on the list is yeah, I'm just completely enamored with this cockpit and just the amount of detail that goes into it. I'm just latching the door now for a bit more peace and quiet as we continue our check. So yeah, you can see that the panel here is very, very well thought out. We've got a nice cylinder head temp and exhaust temp gauge. I've got a nice manifold pressure gauge as well, so it's quite a premium single engine aircraft. You can see here that we're sitting at about 29 to 30 inches on the ground, which is normal. When we start the engine up, this is going to come down. Full throttle is going to be around 30 inches as well. So yeah, they've really done well with this aircraft. It's quite a premium aircraft. It's not like a little Cessna as such. So just going to go ahead and set the barometric pressure here on the altimeter. But while I do that, yeah, as I said before, there's a wide range of gauges that you can see on this panel. You know, they've even got things like fuel flow here as well, so you can plan out your flights. And for some of the longer flights, it's a boon just to see how much fuel you're burning every hour and just what your economy is like. Just having a look at the rudder here. Rudder pedals all check out, so fuel selectors on both. Everything's looking good, I think, for us to get ready to get out of here. So just going to go ahead and prime the tank. Just got my little checklist here as well, until we see some flow on the gauge there, and you can hear the fuel pump just start to struggle a bit. That's when you know there's pressure built up as well. Okay, so just going to go ahead and prime a few pumps, 3 to 5 strokes. If the engine's warm, do not prime according to the checklist. Okay, and let's go ahead, magnetos to both, and kick the starter over. So yeah, hopefully, just close up here first, and prop clear. Well, there we go. Okay, she's fired into life there, and oil pressure's come up, which is what we want. So yeah, with this aircraft, you do not start in lean, as far as I can see. I'm just leaning it out a little bit though, just whilst we idle on the ground, so as not to foul the spark plugs, because that is modelled as well per a lot of the A2A Simulations aircraft. And just going to give it a moment now, idling at around 1000 RPM to warm her up slowly. Okay, it's looking like a very fine day outside. Just letting her warm up a little bit. Radio's going to go ahead and flip those on now. Okay, so just going to go ahead and turn our lights back on. We want fuel pump, and yep, that'll do for now. Just listening to these engine sounds as she warms up. Got a little bit of oil temperature now. Just going to drop the idle, listen to that. And then bring her back up a little bit, back to 1000 RPM. We'll let the warm up continue. Okay, flaps are still down, sun's almost down as well, so should really get going if we want to make this little test flight today. Let's just bring the flaps back up for the takeoff, and just confirming flaps are up on both sides. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and announce our taxi, shall we? We are at Walter Sutton's airfield today. Runway east.
Alpha 79er, traffic, Piper, November 6229er,
this is
taxi to runway east.
the A2A 79 airfield by A2A Simulations. They've done a fine job with this airfield, as always. So things looking good for our takeoff. Just going to go ahead and begin our taxi. There we can probably see Walter Sutton himself working on his tractor. Okay, let's go ahead and give her a little bit of power, start the roll, kick the rudder pedals in, turn her over towards the airstrip. Just mind the sun there, might need our little sun visors a bit later. See the dust getting kicked up there. Very cool. I've got the Accu-feel add-on as well, which adds a lot of extra little sounds and vibrations and whatnot to the aircraft. Check it out on the A2A Simulations page. I've left a link in the description there, where you'll also find this aircraft. I've also left a link to the Walter Sutton airstrip in the description as well. Okay, so all looking good here. Obviously before we do take off, just going to hold the brakes in, do a bit of a run up, and make sure our magnetos are doing what they need to do. Okay, so take her up to around 2000 RPM, or as close to, and start flipping the mags over. Just want to check for any significant drop in the RPMs. It's actually looking really good. Just going to cycle the propeller control and listen to that. You can hear the blades cutting in the air as you drop the RPM there.
Whiskey Alpha
Okay.
Traffic Piper November 6229er Papa taking off runway 2,
Now,
touch and go, left traffic.
just one final check. The control surfaces. This is a low wing aircraft, so obviously performance. She's quite a high speed airplane, I must say, for being a single engine aircraft, non-turbo aircraft. She really does get going, so you really got to watch your speed on takeoff and also landing. But yeah, the lift is not as great as what you may get in a Cessna, so it's going to go full throttle and off the brakes. And we watch our speedometer, our airspeed like a hawk. There goes 60 miles an hour already as we barrel our way, into 80 miles an hour. I will admit that was a bit of a bumpy takeoff, that one, but all things considered, I guess it was a bit of a bumpy airstrip anyway. Okay, so landing gear up. So we've got a retractable landing gear with this aircraft as well. Just another high speed feature that this aircraft has. But yeah, being a low wing as well, you'll see anyway in just a few moments. We'll see if we can do a bit of a speed test and see how fast you can go. So already you can see a beautiful climb rate there, and almost 120 miles an hour. So beautiful, beautiful aircraft, definitely. Very much a little rocket. So yeah, if you haven't checked out this aircraft yet, and you're looking to add a nice, reasonably high performance propeller aircraft, single engine aircraft to your fleet, consider this one. Alright, fuel pump off, fuel selectors. I'm just going to go ahead and turn one of those off just to balance out our fuel a little bit. Hopefully remember to turn them both on again for the landing. See quite a bit more of the scenery from up here. Just listen to those sounds as well. Now speaking of sounds, if you listen closely, you might need your headphones. You can hear like a howling, like a whooshing sound. I think my gear's still down. I'm just going to try bringing it down and up again. Oh, that's better. Wow, my gear doors must have been partially down still. Wow, that's amazing. Beautiful, beautiful aircraft. We're not going to get much time for aerobatics today. More just a little quick test flight. Take her up and show you guys what she's all about. Look at the fidelity there on the tachometer. Vibrations, you know, unevenness, roughness in the engine, it's all modeled. And what a beautiful interior as well. Really get your money's worth with these products from A2A Simulations, whether you've got Flight Simulator X or P3D. You can hear the change in wind effects there as we kick the rudder in as well. And the roughness in the engine. Oh no folks, that's it. Engine's gonna fail. This is the end. I'm only kidding. This is because I've leaned out the engine a little bit too much. Listen to those crackles and pops. Okay, enough of that. Just enrich the mixture again, and you'll see how she runs nice and smooth. Just circling over the field here. Like I said, we don't want to go too far today. Just a bit of a demonstration of the aircraft. Quick first look for now. And what we'll do is we'll prepare for our landing in just a moment. So you can see there the fuel flow gauge. We've even got a little glove box or compartment there. That is really, really cool. Okay, I'm just going to shut up for a second and let you guys take in the sounds. I'll yaw the aeroplane in a sec so you can hear the wind effects and check out the outside view as well. Okay, back inside, just going to go full throttle in a sec, do a bit of a climb test. So going to increase the prop first, then go full throttle and see how she goes. So you can see there, that was a 100-mile-an-hour climb. So yeah, definitely a little rocket here. You can see why Scott chose this aircraft in real life. He owns one of these in this actual paint scheme as well, so that's pretty cool. I really don't want to bring this thing down, even though I want to only have a quick flight today. You can really see how this thing gets addictive, even just flying around aimlessly for the moment. Really makes you want to stay up here and just admire the scenery and the aircraft itself. Beautiful flyer, very agile, and the low wing design makes it a very, very high performance single engine propeller plane. Oh, sun's kind of in my eyes. Just putting her in a shallow dive here, and you'll see how quickly she picks up the speed. Look at that. That's 160 miles an hour already. Whoa, the sun's really in my eyes now. We're doing 160 with the sun in our eyes. Isn't that just lovely? And we don't even have the throttle on that high either. Let's try and get this sun out of the way. For that 160 miles without much effort. Just look at that. Add a little bit of power and we're nudging 180 miles an hour, guys. 180 miles an hour. We're almost into the little yellow band on the airspeed indicator. Okay, enough of that tomfoolery, I guess. It's time to bring her in.
Whiskey Alpha 79er, traffic, Piper, November 6229er, Papa is on final runway west to land.
Okay, so flaps down, just announced final. Try and do what we can about this sun here. We're landing into the sun, always not a good idea. And we're coming in rather fast, so we're doing 90 plus miles an hour. Fuel pump on, want the fuel pump on for landings just in case you need to do a go around. We're coming in way too fast. This is, some might say, where the fun actually begins. Oh god, we're going way too fast. Way too fast. It's just down, stop, 70 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, 70 miles. Brakes. Oh, that was a bit of a close landing, that one. A little bit rusty at the controls, having not played Flight Simulator X in a little while. Probably not as long as you're thinking, but yeah. This airplane is definitely something else. A low wing plane like this, you really need to pay attention, and you really need to get your speeds, you know, sort of down pat, because yeah, I mean, she's a high performance aeroplane. She does not like low speeds as much, and you'll see there how quickly we came in and how deceptive that was. You know, we just hit the ground and we're just barreling along still. So anyway, that's enough of me yammering on. I just realized I forgot to click those little jacks at the bottom left of the panel to put my headphones in the simulation, but if I had done that, I probably wouldn't have picked up on that slight whooshing sound about my landing gear either. Interesting. Just going to go ahead and begin the shutdown process here. Please like, subscribe, comment below if you enjoyed this. And if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know. So yeah, a really beautiful aircraft. It really keeps you on your toes. It's a low wing aircraft. It's got quite a powerful engine. So yeah, you really got to be careful. This is no little Cessna, even if it's only got a single engine, naturally aspirated engine. But yes, I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. We made it back on the ground in one piece. We almost overshot the runway on the landing, but anyway, we didn't in the end, thankfully, just. So thanks for watching, everyone, and see you in the next video. Cheers.